What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. Now you join me behind the wheel of the Formula Mazda in the new Spec Series 4 Update 4, and we are also at the new for Update 4 track of Daytona on the sports car variant here as well. So just looking to see if we can learn the track more than anything else. It's never been a track I've been particularly comfortable at any point in any game, to be honest, and you can see that from our initial qualifying. We're about 3.5 seconds off of pole. It currently sat P3, so we're not the only one struggling. The guy in pole seems to be very, very quick, very familiar with the car and the track, so obviously has a massive advantage in this lobby here. This is literally the first lobby that was available after the update as well, so we're doing this just after midnight, so we're looking to be very early into this one here. We've managed to improve our time a little bit over these last couple of laps. Coming through on the final one here, we get a good run through bus stop this time. We get a little bit deep on exit, so we're a bit slow coming out onto the final bit of banking as we head down towards the line. About 3/10 up as we head onto the banking, but by the time we actually cross the line, going to drop to just over 2/10. So still a particularly slow time, still in a 1:58, so nothing to write home about, nothing impressive at all. It's going to be good enough for 8th position as well. Sorry, 9th position. I overestimated myself there. And yeah, as always, we're going to be in the hunt for our skill rating. We're currently starting at 4.854 with a safety rating of S, looking to see if we can get as close to 5k as possible as soon as possible. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here. I was struggling learning the track. I did about 4 or 5 practice laps and then the 3 qualifying laps, and low 58s was the best I managed to get. As we start off here, a lot of people, including myself, forgetting that we're starting on an angle bit of track, so you don't want to really wheel spin if you can avoid it. So one car going off into the left, and we've got 2 cars off on the right hand side bouncing down the wall. We're going to position ourselves on the inside, very much as far left as we can go, as you tend to get less incidents, I find, in the very inside of that corner there. So with all that said and done, we managed to come out of the start finish straight in P3, coming into turn, I think it's technically turn 3. We go a bit deep on the brake, so we're going to drop down to P4 pretty immediately, and we're going to have a lot of people interested us behind. We have a bit of a better run out of the corner here, and we're looking to go through the fast left-hander. The guy on the inside drifts a little bit further right than I was intended, puts me off into the grass. My rejoin was definitely not great. I think there was enough space for the guy to keep further left. He started turning right for the corner, but I did also drift a little bit further left if you look to where I was in relation to the white line. So yeah, I think that mostly falls on me. I was the car rejoining, so yeah, not my best showing when it comes to that one, unfortunately, but it doesn't seem to have been affected too much. He's still up there in I imagine P4. So just coming on to the first bit of the banking section after the infield here, and this is going to very much be just a series of drafting. I'm running very low wing here, so I've got a lot of space. We've got a car off into the right hand side of the wall there. That was the blue guy from my not so great rejoin. We have a car drifting wide on the banking. It might have been me dropping down. I'm not 100% sure. There wasn't a sort of a line there to follow, but yeah, there's a little bit of inconsequential contact, but it didn't seem to affect anyone too much. So yeah, it's very much just going to be, I think, a draft, and I'm running quite low wing, but even with that, the draft is still stronger than a low wing setup from what I noticed in this one. So as you can see, we get good drive out of the corner because of our low wing. We're going to tuck in the furthest left we can go while still on the banking, not being on the apron. Crossing the line, we're at P5, but we get out brakes coming into turn 1 here. I'm still trying to learn all the braking points and turning points and stuff. We get a little bit of contact from the golf coloured Mazda behind us. We're going to go defensive a little bit here through turn 3, just making sure we don't have the golf send it too far up the inside. Oh, sorry, it's just coming back onto the banking section, so it's further through the infield section. He does round us on the outside, but we keep it tight. We get a much better exit on throttle coming here towards the banking, so we managed to hold on to P6. As we come off the banking down towards the bus stop, we're going to put ourselves on the right hand side. I've been using just after the crane on the outside there as my braking point. It doesn't seem to be, I think some people seem to be able to get a bit more out of it than I can, but that seems to be where I need to be for it to for me to get through comfortably through bus stop rather than quickly. So yeah, we managed to get a better run again out of bus stop onto the banking section up to P5. We're now going to be going into one of the worst situations you ever want to see in a Forza Motorsport lobby, which is going 3 wide. I drift a little bit to the left hand side there. We get a little bit of inconsequential contact, but according to the penalty system, that warrants a half-second penalty. We're just going to let those two go very deep under braking, and we're just going to keep to the left hand side, pick back up those positions that they forfeited, and yeah, back into into P5. We go defensive again into turn 3 because we've got now the silver and red McLaren liveried Mazda behind us, now looking to see if we can get a better run. We've held ourselves on the apex just to make sure we didn't get the cutback, but that puts us swamped completely by all the cars behind us now. Coming through the fast left-hander, we keep it tight to the left-hand side. We managed to unfortunately concede the space on the inside coming into the right-hander, so we have to drop that to McLaren. We cut back in as quickly as we can to make sure no one else can follow him through. Coming into the banking section, we get a lock up in front of us. We get a little bit of a tap from the Golf behind us. That gets us a little bit deep through the corner, a little bit late on throttle, and when we did go on throttle we had a little bit of oversteer as well, so not the greatest of exits. We are running at a lot lower downforce I think than the Golf coloured McLaren liveried one to my left at the moment, so we managed to seem to be able to pass him through the straight line speed alone as we head down here towards bus stop. We are putting ourselves on the right hand side, maximise the entry, waiting for just passing the crane, lifting off, dropping down to 4th. We've got 2 cars in front of us getting up close and personal. The silver McLaren seemed to regain himself a lot better than the yellow Mazda, and we managed to just get around that to avoid getting any form of damage. The Aston Martin and Aston Martin and the McLaren one's getting all up close and personal. The Aston Martin one taking a very abrupt move to the right hand side, and then as we come down through the second part of the banking, gives me a couple of taps to try and get into my slipstream. We pick up the slipstream of the silver and red McLaren on the way towards the line, crossing there in P3, puts us on the outside of the corner. We've got the Aston Martin one who just drives straight into the back of me. Again, I might well have been me with a very early braking point, but I'm still not very comfortable on this track at all. We go very deep into the runoff area. We join the track P6, so we have to leave space on the left to make sure that he can hit the apex as he is the fast car on track at that moment. We catch up and stay close through the infield section, coming back here onto the banking, and we're just looking to see once again if we can pick up the slipstream, because it seems to be the main way to get anything done here. We get pinched very roughly into the bus stop coming here from the yellow one in front, and he gets all kinds of out of shape, goes very deep through the bus stop chicane. We're going to swing it around the outside, leaving space on the left for him to hit the apex still, but we managed to get the overspeed here, and we're just going to drive ourselves unfortunately into a little box, not quite able to do anything. I tried to lift off, we give the Aston Martin liveried Mazda a little bit of a tap, and again we get another half-second penalty. I drift a little bit low off my line here coming through the banking. We pick up another couple of bits of contact. We're just going to brake nice and early. The yellow Mazda comes flying in from nowhere, completely takes out the Aston Martin liveried one, but he seems to manage to survive pretty well. The silver McLaren and not so much, unfortunately. And as we come down here, we just come to the bus stop here on lap 5, you can see that we've descended into some very thick fog. So the Aston Martin one puts himself up the inside there, and he manages to get that position, so we're down to P4. But now I'm having to race at a track I don't know particularly well, with thickening fog, with slipstreams, and some guys who aren't great at holding their position, so I'm just going to be going a lot more passively than I was before. As you can see, once again the Aston Martin goes very deep into the braking point, but we managed to cut back and get a better exit, so we are right behind him coming into turn, I think is turn 3, the right hander. We're on the inside, but he turns in as if we're not there, so he gets a little bit of collision there, but nothing too major. He's still very close behind us on exit, and as we come down into the left hander towards the banking section, he gets up the inside here. My fault there, not closing the door early enough, and he manages to gain that position. So we are pretty much equal on penalties, so it's going to be a fight to see who can actually finish ahead on track in terms of final positions if we were to finish as we are now. Bus stop has got much harder to spot. I completely missed my braking point. I go way deep past the crane. We rejoin the track, had a quick glance in the mirrors to make sure it's fine to rejoin. We're going to put ourselves very much to the right hand side as there was a car approaching, and as he dives up the inside we're going to try and jump in to get the slipstream. Entering the penultimate lap here, we're looking to just see if we can get back in front of this guy here. We get a better run out of the right hander. He then gives me a tap onto the right hand side, tap to the left hand side, pushes me further right. Coming through the fast kink here, the guy behind just decides not to brake as much as he thinks he needs to, and we just get sent careening off into the grass, and I get completely lost through here. I have no idea where I am. I'm on some form of tarmac, so at this point I think this is the track, so I'm going to try and get back to that. You can see the cars continue to have an accident over on the left hand side. Turns out I was on the slightly different configuration there, so we actually managed to cut off the entire of the right hander before the rejoining the banking circuit, so I did get a penalty for it, but we'll take that, and we did manage to get the positions. We're at P5 here. Coming into the final lap, the car in front goes very wide onto the runoff and the exit at turn 1. We managed to cut back, not quite able to do the turn on there. He manages to just hold the apex enough for me to not get the switch back through the first right hander. We get a better run-ish coming out of the right hander towards the banking section here, and looking to see if we can get a much better run down towards bus stop. We know we've got a much faster straight line speed than this guy. We've got a little bit of toe here just to start us off with to get us the momentum around the outside. So we pull to the right hand side as we come down off the banking. We have managed to get in front. He drops in behind for slipstream. Desperately trying to find my braking point. We can see the crane, so we're just going to see if we can lift off. Lifted off a little bit earlier than I had done there, so partially my fault, but the guy does drive completely into the back of me. Yeah, not the greatest there from everyone involved. But I'm just going to put a proportion of blame on myself for that one there. We managed to get another Mazda fly past us, so we dropped down to P7, but we managed to get P6 back on track. Quick glance is a 4.4 second penalty with our 1 second on there. Unfortunately, we finished 3.6 behind, leaves us 0.2 of a second off of 5th, but that is still 6th position, which based on the calamities that involved in that race, it's not too bad, I believe. Quick look at the fastest laps sort of shows us that we were destined to be in this sort of area. Unfortunately, we are massively slower than P1 and P2 in terms of lap speeds, lap times. So we shall move on to Catalunya, and hopefully we'll get a slightly less adventurous race in terms of on-track incidents and stuff. First qualifying lap doesn't go particularly well. We carry a bit too much speed coming up the right-hander over the top of the hill after the chicane, so we have to skip that one. On our second run here, we make sure we can get through this corner nice and easily. We don't run too wide. Yes, we do, unfortunately. Dropping a wheel onto the grass there, so our final lap was ruined, unfortunately, but we did manage to get one qualifying lap in the second lap there, so not a totally ruined section, and we will be starting this one from P6. We're about a second and a half off a pole and just looking to see if we can take the fight to the front here. Hopefully another potential podium finish, and we could hopefully get some good points towards our driver rating here. So as we get off the line, nothing too major to report in this one, to be honest. It's all pretty much standard on the way down to the first corner. Everyone sets off well, everyone gives people enough space. Coming through the right hander, we get a little tap from the car behind. We don't end up too bad about it, but you can see there is a lot of stuff happening in the rear view mirror. We do get under pressure a little bit from the John Player Special Mazda behind us, so we are just going to put ourselves on the right hand side. He's out onto the left, so we're just going to hold a tight line through this corner, not given the option to cut back, but he just powers it round the outside here, so he's going to actually have the advantage coming into this left-hander, so we're just going to brake, concede that one, tuck in behind to make sure we don't lose too much speed and get on with business. So coming over the top of the hill, we get a little bit of oversteer as we go through that little dip there, so we have to dip down into third gear. That gives me a much slower run out of the corner, but we do manage to hold on. 2P7 coming out of that until the final corner, where once again we get a bit of oversteer. That puts me offline. We drop down to third, but it's not enough to save the car, and we end up going off into the gravel, and we are now down to P12, make that P13, and we're just going to go defensive coming into the first corner of lap 2. We unfortunately do concede P14 as we come through here, and that puts me all out of shape by being a bit too fast and a bit offline, so really need to calm myself down here. I'm overdriving a bit. We've got an incident off onto the left, so we're going to get 2 free positions back up to P12. We've got more stuff going on the left hand side here as we come up the right hander as well, so that gives me up to P11. So yeah, unfortunately I think I'm overdriving the Mazda at this point. It's not got the grip on it that I was hoping it had, or at least I was familiar with it having previously. I don't know if this spec is different from the other spec that they released, but we go look to see if we can get a move up to the inside here. We drift a little bit late on brakes. I'm not happy taking the position with that collision on there, so we let off the throttle to give the guy back that position. So we do drop to P13 with everyone else going through, but we make that P12 with someone else off track on the left hand side as well. So yeah, pretty busy first couple of laps here. We're only just starting lap 3, and we're already seeing another incident in front of us, so we're getting caught up in that, unfortunately. As we try and drive around it, we get caught up, locked wheels with a guy on our left hand side. Falls of glue happens, and we drive straight off into the wall. We try and rejoin the track, but we just do another donut, so we're just going to skip ahead on that because we've just dropped about 10 seconds through that stupid bits there after doing 2 full spins, and we are back in last. So the only person behind us is the person who has already quit the race. Coming up over the right hand, coming up over the crest on the right hander there. I'm not quite sure what happened. I think the car maybe ground out or something, but it just speared me off to the right hand side. Didn't really have much time to correct anything, unfortunately. So we are now about 8 seconds behind P20, which is the last running vehicle in this race. So we're just going to try and take stock. By the end of the next lap, we managed to catch up to the back of him. We're going to do a move up the inside here through the final corner. And the guy was nice and left me a load of space in there. I think you could see that we were a lot quicker than him. Coming through onto lap 5 through the left hander down towards the chicane, we managed to get a free position up through there, a couple of positions through people pitting on this lap as well. So we're slowly regaining ground. P17. And the cars ahead of us start squabbling, so that means we're able to catch up about 3 seconds onto these cars through this corner. The car in front, I think, must be on softs because he's got no grip and he wasn't able to get any power down as we came out through that right-hander. He completely misses the pit entry and drives straight into the barrier as well. So we get P16 from that, and then we get another position here as well, P15 from someone else who has pit. So yeah, penultimate lap. We've got more squabbling coming on here through the left-hander into the final complex. We're going to look for an opportunic position up the inside here. Again, I think this guy's struggling on tyres because he just drives straight off into the gravel, gives me a free position up to P14. And then we've got someone else having a trip into the gravel here. We just about avoid the rejoin there up to P13. We see the carnage of the guy who drove into the barrier on the right-hand side there with tyres still strewn across the infield. So final lap, we're looking to see if we can maybe make one last position here. We look to go around the outside here. The guy just opens the steering wheel up. I'm a little bit naughty in terms of defending there, but we'll let it go, especially as 2 corners later we managed to get up the inside here. Again, I think he is very minimal on tyres. We are on moderate wear, but the Mazda seems to drive a lot better on moderates than some other cars that I've driven, so thankfully it's not affected me too much. My lap times aren't too far off, so I managed to get it down to 5 seconds, but it was about 7 seconds by the time we crossed the line to finish P12. So not a great one there, unfortunately. Started P6 and just got caught up with both our own incidents happening a few times and just getting driven off the track, unfortunately. Yeah, our lap times were pretty good though. We were probably about P5, P6 on pace just per lap if we managed to get some clear running. We do improve our skill rating a little bit up to 4866, maintaining our S rating, so we've gained by about 12 points there. If you enjoy this one, guys, do please click on the video on screen now from when the first lot of Formula Mazda was out here and we had a lot more of a better finishing position. But that is it for me. Thank you for watching and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.